you guys, this is Cassina Folstead, and I just thought that I would do a quick video to talk about how the design came together for this kitchen, and also a little bit about sort of what kind of thinking and services that we bring to the table when working with our clients. So in this kitchen, these are all the before pics, and basically this is an older city home in St. Paul, and I will click around on a couple pics so you can kind of see. As you can see here, the entrance to the kitchen was just a regular doorway, and it is a real thick load-bearing wall. In fact, the plumbing pipe for the toilet waste was right here. And so when the homeowners contacted us, they knew that they wanted to open up this wall as far back to the left as we could, but then on this wall they weren't sure if they wanted to keep it where it was or open it up like just this L shape right here, or open it up all the way. And so and then as far as their design aesthetic goes, they have a very modern aesthetic. When I say mod, I kind of explain this in the blog post, that it's like basically all the modern sort of mod furniture at Room and Board would be a good example of their aesthetic, but yet they still respected the older city homes and wanted to make sure that what they were doing was with their style, but also staying true to the house, which of course is our specialty and what we love. So it was truly a perfect fit for us. Their kitchen wasn't really all that old, but just they really wanted to maximize storage and just sort of kick it up a notch, if you will. So when you look through that door, you can kind of see the doorway here on the left and on the right. Along the far side here on the right is the stove, and it was basically centered along that whole wall. You can sort of see back here that this is their back entrance, and then back behind there is sort of some built-ins that they have for coats and stuff like that. This is the opposite wall. So back here is where the stove is. So you have the fridge here, and then the sink wall was, the sink was centered under the windows. And then really in this sort of small galley kitchen, to maximize the space, you know, they had the cabinetry up here above the windows. And then to orient you, see this little black slab right here? That's the next pic we're going to look at. So that's this slab. So basically the cabinetry went all the way under this window, kind of awkward, where it sort of overlapped the window. And then because they were so short for storage, they just bought this and had it in place. One thing that you can't really see is they have this overhang right here that bumps down, and that is their the stairs that go upstairs. So there's really nothing that we could do. Luckily, it was all the way back into this like space where you know walked in that back area, but there was really nothing that we could do from it. So what we do, and I'm going to kind of scroll back, is so when we will come in and do all of the measurements and then meet with you to discuss sort of what your ideal sort of aesthetic is, take a look at the rest of your house to see other things that you like, and really just sort of spend a couple hours getting to know you and your style. And then we go away, we have all the before pictures, and we really get started on doing the layout as well as putting together all of the furnishings and the colors and everything. So that is what we call phase 2, and then that will encompass usually some sort of a layout. Oftentimes we don't even need a blueprint, but if we want to do a cabinet layout in a kitchen, we will. And then along with a mood board. And so the mood board has all of the finishes that we're going to suggest using, like your backsplash tile, your cabinetry, your pulls, your lights, your flooring, your paint color, literally every single thing, even appliances. And then the layout shows you where we're recommending what cabinetry and how we want to lay things out. So what was really, really cool in this particular project, and why I wanted to do this video and share it with you, is to say that this wall right here, once we did all of the measurements, I realized that by moving this wall all the way back, so to be flush with this tile back here, that extra 8 inches that we got allowed us to reconfigure the whole entire kitchen. So when we met with them, they were really struggling with storage. And so you can see they've got uppers all the way here. They've got your standard microwave above the range. They had these uppers here. This is the fridge, so there was no pantry or anything like that. And they really basically crammed in as much cabinetry as possible, right? So by me realizing that if we could push this wall back, we could reconfigure the entire kitchen and almost double their storage. It was sort of like this amazing aha moment. And so when we went back to present them with our layout recommendation as well as the materials, it was just such a really cool meeting to really be able to provide that whole new layout and really optimize their space. So I'm going to move this to the side. So if we still need to see it, we can actually, you know what, we won't need to see this. Let's look at, we still have the before pictures on the blog post here, okay? So let's scroll. Everything that I just mentioned is basically talked about here. And let's go ahead and take a look at the after pics. So to help orient you, the stove, this is the same stove wall, except their stove would have been more over here. So this is this wall that is now opened, and we actually kept a header above here because that allowed us to continue in the dining room, the crown molding all the way around the room, which is really important in the older houses. And then similarly, by sliding this stove down a little bit, you'll notice that I was able to put the fridge over here and then squeeze in a decent size, albeit smaller, microwave down below. So now we have this beautiful wow moment. We don't need to have any cabinetry up here. It's just a gorgeous focal wall. This is your entryway in your dining room over here. So walking in and having this be your kitchen is just sort of this gorgeous wow moment. This is the modern part of the kitchen for them. So we suggested the porcelain slab hood, countertops, and either a tile backsplash or the same slab backsplash. They loved the idea of the slab backsplash, but as they were researching, it ended up just being too expensive for them to be able to do the hood, the countertop, and all of the backsplash that. But this tile is a really beautiful, clear, matte tile. And I believe it was fresh off like the manufacturing line. I think we might have even been the first people to use it, which is kind of cool. So this side is very modern, and one of the homeowners really wanted painted cabinetry, and the other one liked the idea of wood. So we combined the two. So this whole wall is just all like a mushroom color painted cabinetry. And then we can scroll. The opposite wall, this is the sink wall. So this is the same wall in a location as the sink. This is where we actually did a cabinet that looks just like their dining room hutch. And I don't have a picture of that up now, but I will put it on the blog post so you can see what that looks like. So their dining room hutch has glass doors down below with these little grid lines right here. And so these, of course, are wood doors, but we still kept the grid lines just the same. We replaced the windows and all the trim and then stained everything to match all the rest of the woodwork in the house. And you'll notice that we don't have any uppers here now. And then we were also able to give them a wine fridge, which they really wanted. So in the kitchen, the homeowner wanted to keep their faucet, their sink, and their dishwasher and their range, but they did buy a new microwave and refrigerator. So here's another shot so you can see the whole space. So now you see it's all the way open over here, and we did open this up a little bit here, but unfortunately that's when we found the main plumbing stack, so we couldn't open this as much as we would have liked to. Ideally we would have had it flush with the cabinetry, which would have been about another foot and would have been really nice. So then what I did is I put together a plan where on the sink wall, I'm going to scroll here. Yes, so here you go. You can see that I was able to fit in a pantry. So this is where the refrigerator used to be. So on the sink wall, I'm going to scroll slowly here so I don't get just sick. But basically, here we go. I guess we weren't able to get as wide of an image as I would have liked. So close your eyes. I'm going to scroll back up real fast. Let's go to this shot here. Where'd it go? Okay, so you can't tell here, but that pantry is on the left, and then it's a little blown out by the sun, but this cabinet sits all the way down on the countertop right here. And so by doing that, I centered the entire sink wall with those cabinets on the far left and the far right flanking the end walls. And then this cabinetry is a blind cabinet, which allowed me to propose to do like a cool shelf. And so the shelf has the glass shelving, and it's not obstructing the window, so you're still getting all the beautiful light from the window, but yet giving a tremendous amount of storage. This is the equivalent of like a 36 or a 42-inch cabinet right here, so you can imagine like all of your daily use dishes can go right there. It never gets dirty because you're using them every day, but yet we just gave them a tremendous amount of storage. Remember how they used to have cabinetry up here? Now look at how much more functional something like this is, but it's also really beautiful. And then similarly, I put a cabinet down here, and this is really shallow. I'm going to scroll so you can kind of see right here. I forget exactly, it might be about 18 inches deep, but it still provides a lot of storage, and it doesn't get in the way from that back entry. Here's a better shot so you can see we still put doors on here. So that way, if somebody ever wanted to take away this shelving unit, they could, and these would function normally. Otherwise, this is what you call a blind cabinet. So when you open this door, that's how you access those back here. And you might be thinking like, oh, well, you may not be able to use that much, but here's the thing. Every kitchen usually has some sort of like an out of reach cabinet. And even if you could open this, it's like the furthest away cabinet out of anything. So instead, by keeping that for things you don't use that often, and then giving them this huge amount of storage up here with this glass rack, it's not only a beautiful focal point, but it's also really functional. Oops, hit the wrong button here. Here's a full shot so you can see how pretty that is. And then we suggested either a wallpaper or a patterned tile for that back wall. Because when you walk and are sitting in the dining room, this is the reverse angle, right? But this is the dining room. Over here is the front entrance of the house. So when you stand right here and look in the kitchen, this is your view. And that is, we always like to have 1 or 2 wow factors in each kitchen, and that is what this wallpaper does. So they chose this wallpaper. It's very mod, and but yet if that wasn't somebody else's style, it's like the easiest thing to fix without having to change the whole kitchen, and the rest of the kitchen is still very true to the aesthetic of the home. And I would say, with the exception, of course, this is very modern, but that's okay. If somebody just wanted to come in and add cabinetry there instead, like that's fine. You still are getting this core kitchen that still fits sort of with the bulk of the style of the house. So like I said, you can't see it in this picture, but there is a header here. So that way the crown molding extends all the way around the dining room still. And you can see the crown molding back here. And I'll just kind of scroll a little slowly so you can see some of the pics. But anyway, in short, so this is the wall I was saying we would have loved to have pushed back further, but it was just cost prohibitive. But it would have been nice to be back flush with this pantry cabinet. But in summary, by pushing this wall back right here and gaining that extra 8 inches, if I didn't do that, I would not have been able to give them this pantry. I would not have been able to move this, fridge over here and then create this beautiful, fully centered kitchen sink wall with the pantry on one side and then the other floor to ceiling cabinetry on the other side. I would not have been able to bring the microwave over here because it would have been too narrow, and I wouldn't have been able to give this beautiful focal wall. So truly, by opening up that wall, gaining that 8 inches, it's like we almost doubled their storage, and also we gave them that beautiful focal wall with the wallpaper and this beautiful focal wall with the stove and the hood. So I guess I just wanted to make this so you could sort of see sort of what kind of thinking goes in. As I mentioned, we will come with recommendations initially for everything. So we came up with, at that first meeting, we presented the layout that included this cabinetry up on furniture legs and a recommendation for a shelving rack that actually had posts that came all the way down, but they wanted to just eliminate that to keep it a little bit more open in front of the window. And then either a tile or a wallpaper wall, and this is the wallpaper that they found and chose. And then sconces above the, the windows. And then knowing they wanted to keep some of their appliances, we just made sure that stainless steel made sense throughout the rest of the kitchen. But then had fun with doing the antique brass, pulls to kind of, they match all of the pulls that are on the dining room hutch. And then just kind of like this cool matte glass tile. Here's like a few more pics. You can kind of see the cool, beautiful woodwork in the archway there. Here's a closer up shot of that pantry. And inside here, one of these slides out and is a coffee station. So that's really cool. And lots of function for them. And here's a good shot you can kind of see. So this is still accessible. Obviously, we staged this for the photo shoot. You wouldn't have a big vase there, but this cabinet is 100% accessible. It is not obstructed by anything. So the only thing that's a blind cabinet is just that one small little upper over there, which is still, you know, super functional. Well, thank you so much for listening in, and I will go ahead and check back at that dining room picture so you can see how we match the hutch and the woodwork in the rest of the house.